Hi, it's Wendy here from Informed Literacy, and I'm here today to talk to you about how to maximize your instructional reading time using Informed Literacy's lesson progression. On day 3 of the lesson progression, we'll focus on rereading the decodable book for fluency, some comprehension questions, and either word and sentence dictation or a vocabulary activity. On day 2, the students had 2 opportunities to read the decodable book. Today, they're going to have another opportunity to reread the book for fluency. And it's important that students have this opportunity to reread for fluency where they can focus on the author's message, because fluency is the bridge to comprehension. Students need to read not only accurately, but also automatically with some automaticity, because as they're reading with automaticity, they have more cognitive energy available to them to focus on the author's message and the comprehension of the story. It's important that students understand that reading is about comprehension. We want to be able to understand what we're reading. So that's why we've included comprehension checks at the back of each story, so that every time students read a book, they have an opportunity to reflect on the story. The next part of the day 3 lesson progression is word and sentence dictation. So decoding and reading, or decoding is reading, and decoding and spelling are reciprocal skills. Reinforcing word patterns through spelling practice helps students more easily recognize these patterns when reading and helps lead to automaticity. So the students would get their dictation book and open up to the first blank page, and there are 3 sections in this dictation book. We have the decodable words, the high frequency words, and then the sentence dictation. So when teachers are incorporating a word and sentence dictation, they can choose any of the decodable words from the story. You say the word, the students repeat the word, you use the word in a sentence. Students tap the word, they tap the sounds in the word, not the letters in the word, but the sounds in the word. And then they write the 3 words here. So remember too that this is an opportunity for learning and for practice. So it's important to give students immediate corrective feedback. So when they're spelling, if they spelled the word hen and they spelled it H-I-N instead of H-E-N, you could say, what letter says eh? And they would recall that E says eh. And then you could point to the I in the word hin that they wrote and say, what sound does I make? It. Okay, let's fix that word. So give them immediate corrective feedback. It's important because this is practice. This is not a pass-fail activity. The next part are the star words, and you can, or the high frequency words, and you can choose from any of the words on the front page of this book. You can choose words that you've been practicing with your students, or you can choose words that you've noticed that the students have had some trouble with, some difficulty with. And then the last part of this activity is the sentence dictation. And it's important that students have an opportunity to synthesize their learning. So in a sentence dictation, there's a lot of things to consider. They have to consider capitals and periods. They have to consider spacing, letter formation, correct spelling, whether it's a high frequency word or a word that has a recognizable phonics pattern. And they have to recall the complete sentence. Again, this is an activity that is meant for practice and for corrective feedback. It's a learning activity, but it's really important for them. Another optional activity for day 3 of the lesson progression is vocabulary instruction. Research shows that there's a high correlation between a robust vocabulary and reading comprehension, and students who come from impoverished backgrounds, students with language difficulties, EL students, emergent and struggling readers will all benefit from targeted vocabulary instruction. And this page here is the vocabulary page that Jen and I developed for our students. It provides a place for the word, a simple definition, a sketch of the word, and a sentence. So in this case, you can use tier 2 words, which are words that are not necessarily in a student's working vocabulary, but they're important words to know. And you can look through the book to find tier 2 words. Ill is an example of a tier 2 word. Students might know the word sick, but they might not have heard or used the word ill. So you could decide to focus on the meaning of the word ill, or you can find a multi-meaning word like vet. Vet has more than one meaning. It's short for the word veterinarian, meaning an animal doctor. It's also short for the word veteran, meaning a person from with a military background. So depending on your students' needs, you're going to choose a tier 2 word, and they will write the word up in the top, and then you give them a simple definition. So for instance, if the word was ill, ill means sick. You could say sick with a bug, not meaning bug like insect, but bug, sick with it, like the stomach bug or the strep throat or anything that a student might be familiar with in terms of illness. And then you could say a sentence. So you would dictate, the hen is ill, and they would repeat, the hen is ill, and then they would write the sentence. And then they could draw a picture of a sick hen. I wanted to add that this dictionary, Collins Co-Build Learner's Dictionary, has lots and lots of words that you can focus on. And they give you a little hint about which words are tier 2 words that would be helpful for your students to know. And there's little diamonds next to each of these words. And if it has 3 or 4 diamonds next to it, that would be a great selection for a tier 2 word. And if you want to know more about tier 2 words, you can read Isabel Beck's work on bringing words to life. Remember too that all of the materials that I've used today to demonstrate the lessons with can be found in our supplemental resource pack. That also includes lesson plans for each component of the lesson. So it helps maximize your planning time and it helps maximize your reading instruction time. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you liked it, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I will drop the links to the materials below. Thanks so much for watching.